Members of St. Mike's Catholic Church, and he grew up just 2 blocks to the south of us here, Mr. Dennis McDonough. And who is Dennis McDonough? He was President Obama's last chief of staff. Just a few years younger than me, and he graduated from Stillwater High School back in 1988, 30 years ago. I see him in town every now and then, and if I see him, I just talk sports with him. I figure that's pretty safe. He was a good football player in high school. Okay, let's look at these homes around us, very similar in size here. These are the Riverboat Captain homes. And from here you could look down and keep an eye on your ship as she's moored on the lake. In June of 1914, after 70 years of harvesting the white pine tree, never replanting them, well, they finally got to the last ones where they were harvested. In the spring, those logs were floated down to Stillwater, taken out, ran through the sawmills, and now Stillwater is left choking on its own sawdust. The whole economy was contingent on the white pine tree. Now they are all gone. In June of 1914, there's about 20,000 people living in town. 2 months later, mass exodus of people leaving town, looking for jobs elsewhere. There's just 4,000 people left. And it wasn't up until the 1960s that people finally start moving back here. Now we're getting back to that 20,000 mark again. And right on time, my volunteers coming up the Main Street steps. These steps are left over from the logging era. 157 steps down to Main Street. When the tour is over, I want everyone to come back. Go up and down these steps a bunch of times.
No, thank you.
Yeah, this way you get a real sense of what it was like living in the lumber era. If you're like me, I live in town, and these are my gym. I don't have a gym membership. This is it. And you get a nice view over here. So I don't usually do the burpees there. This gal over here. That's really hardcore. Yeah, you get the nice. I never get tired of this view here. It's really nice, isn't it? Yeah, see if I can sneak out of here. We had one interesting character in the logging era.
Yeah.
Fisherman John Jeremy. And he was not just a fisher of fish, he was a fisher of dead bodies that had fallen into the river. Well, being a lumberjack was really dangerous work. Many people died loading logs down the river to the sawmills here in town. And he was a strange and unusual man who always carried a gunny sack around with him. And inside the gunny sack were the tools of his trade of finding dead bodies. And he would never tell anyone what was in that gunny sack and what made him so good at what he did, which, of course, led to a lot of speculation as to what could be in there. Are there trained muskrats in there? Or is witchcraft involved? He is just too good at finding dead bodies. And depending on how much money your family had is what he'd charge you. One family did not pay him for his services, so he held the body ransom. They finally paid him off, but he did eventually die. Now they can finally open up that gunny sack, look in there to reveal its secretive content.
And 1 minute, please.
Had to get a drink, sorry. And so, he opened up the gunny sack, saw nothing more than lead weights and grappling hooks. His greatest tools, patience and knowing the river. He'd take up to 24 hours to find some of those bodies. And he knew the river currents like the back of his hand. Had a good idea where those bodies would end up. In his lifetime, he is credited in finding 500 bodies. Only twice did he ever fail to locate the body. Here we go down Chillicoot Hill, named after that famous pass up in Alaska. They do shut this hill down in the wintertime. And you guys remember the Dell computer guy? Yeah, he donated all the money to build the park coming up to the left of us here.